Hello, Gary Champion, Psychic Medium again. Um, a lot of time's been going by between videos, and some of you have noticed that. And mostly it's because I don't understand what's happening. And I don't think anybody fully understands what's going on. We have this COVID-19, which it's not all just racism, it's that a lot of people have lost jobs. And people at the bottom of the pyramid are the hardest hit. There's no answer for COVID-19. It's just happening. It doesn't have anybody's name on it. And then along comes a spark. And a spark has ignited this conflagration, this large fire of angry people. Um, Pursuit of happiness, someone's saying very loud. Most people are not pursuing happiness. They're revengeful. But it's not the answer. And I must say that in the 60s, when people were marching, I didn't understand that either. I didn't understand any of it. I didn't understand why we were in Vietnam. I couldn't understand why we were going there. I didn't understand why I was going there. I didn't understand what the purpose was. I understood that I was a citizen of this country, and if the military sent me there, I was obliged to go because that's what you do. Marches brought that war to an end. Just as surely as I'm sitting here, what's happening in the current crisis is no one's listening. No one has listened since the mid 70s when the Vietnam War ended because of, and it was mixed up in racism too. The majority of the people that went to fight that war were not white people, they were black people. They were at the lower end of the socioeconomic scale, and they couldn't get into college. I was lucky enough to get into college. I had a major, I had a purpose, and I didn't really think about it until after the war was over, and I saw how many black people there were in the military in Vietnam. And then I sort of understood that I had a privileged life of some kind, even though I wasn't privileged. I worked my way through college. Took a long time. I wouldn't have done it any differently. But even that, I guess, is some kind of privilege. And a lot of riots, a lot of people hurt, people killed, and sort of people got together in little pockets and little groups and affected change. They worked through the political, the courts and resolved a lot of these issues. But basically, it was a handshake and a wink, wink, nod, nod, and life went on like it was. We had had our chance to fix a problem, and we didn't do it. Why? Because the same guys were in power then that's in power now. Nothing's changed. It's the same kinds of people. They don't have the same names, although they might. The same thinking is what's killing us. We had a nationwide mandate to organize small groups, to work through the courts, to correct some of these problems. Then it would appear like we're listening. We still may not be even listening, even at that. Just placating them. Oh, it'll go away. It'll be all right. That's why this has revisited us. the same sort of thing, injustice, and not listening. But it's the same people. They have the same, they saying the same things they said then until it ended the war. That president was taken out. That was Nixon, by the way, same one who did Watergate, who everybody who worked for him in the Oval Office, they all went to jail for cover-ups, lying, slush funds. It's endless. Shredding of documents to cover up what was really going on. It's a long list of things. When they were out of office, we sort of started with a clean slate and things were better, but they didn't stay there very long. Why? Because someone's saying there's a widening gap between the haves and have-nots. So it's actually worse than what it was. Had something happened to bring that together, because this is economically tied. Not listening, racism, economics. And which side you're on, black or white, these are often disadvantaged people. They want to be somebody. No one's listening to them. So they organize hate groups, or they organize groups at march, or they organize protests, organizing something, but they're not doing it very well. Student activists started that. It started on campuses. It didn't start out in the streets. And what happens to student activists? They grow up, they put on suits and ties, and they get jobs down on Wall Street. And they become a part of the problem, even though 10 years earlier, they were the ones leading the fight out of it. The ones that were saying, we got to stop doing this. Every 10 years, we can't keep having people burn down parts of town. And a lot of those businesses that have been looted, they're not coming back. Who did that hurt? How about the people that live there? And people are supporting your marching and protesting. You've hurt them to the point they're no longer going to be around. And someone will quickly say, in every war there are costs. Probably true. No one's listening to these people. They have a point. Until we actually listen to them and say, gee, we can fix that. Why don't we do that? If you continue to beat on a group of people who are already disadvantaged economically, socially, where they live, everything, and you continue to beat on them, eventually they beat back. This is just anger spilling out. Maybe not over this. The man who was murdered may not be about that at all in some cases. It's just accumulative. If not this one, then how about that one, and how about that one, and how about that one? Back to Emmett Till. If you don't know Emmett Till, I know every black person knows who Emmett Till is. You might want to look it up. We got to listen. That's all. And we're good listeners. We're just not doing it in this case because we feel it might endanger who we are. The goal of every person should be to heal this rift in whatever way we can, move forward, pass some legislation to stop the bullying, learn how to balance the world out a little better. You don't want to go so far as you don't want to be what Russia has. You live there, you can make so much a day no matter what you do. If nothing's done well. People have to have an incentive to improve. There's a pay scale for that. I'm not saying put incompetent people in positions of authority. That's not fixing a problem. That's making another problem. Just simply listening. People have a lot to say, and they may be listening on late night television now, but largely ignored. Oh, they've always had those complaints. That's always what they're complaining. Yeah. If someone complaining their coffee's too bitter morning after morning after morning and no one does anything about it, someone's complaining that their life is crap, that they have no place to go, they have no insurance, they have no running water, whatever it is. They can't seem to get the job they want. They can't get into college. Their people are being brutalized. All we have to do is listen and vow to do better. This is political stuff. Wouldn't be too hard to do. Got a couple of centuries of bad thought. At some point, we have to begin to peel that away and just kind of show how silly a lot of it is. People in this country are supposed to rise through their abilities. You have the opportunity here. You don't. In many countries, you don't have that. You're locked into a certain thing. There are countries you have to have so many grades in order to get in college. You don't have that here. Anybody can go to college. You might have to take remedial courses, but anybody can get into college, especially land grant colleges. That's how I got into college, the land grant college. The government gave money to a state to build a college, and they had to let all the people who lived in that state in. That's how I got in. Anybody can go to college. It's the resentment and the bitterness left over from a long time of problems that as soon as a spark is lit, they go off and do this. They don't see looting as a bad thing. They think that's revenge. I'm just getting revenge. I'm just getting even. It's not fair either. And people are being shot because of that. People are defending their property now and coming out with guns. I think I said riots months ago, didn't I? Didn't I predict riots months ago? Here's the thing, as a medium, it's easy to come up with the word riot because someone who's passed says the word. It's huge from that word to actually doing something. Just because I knew it was coming doesn't mean I have any answers. Who does? We've got to do a better job of listening. That's all I'm saying. With listening, you find common ground. Maybe their thoughts aren't the same as yours. Isn't that the point of a country that's multinational, multicultural? We're not a melting pot, by the way. That's a load of crap. People hang out, eat lunch, and work with people of the same color. We're not a melting pot. We're pockets of people who are trying to get along. And as soon as we can connect the dots between all those different people, progress will be made. Everybody, regardless of color or anything else, wants their kids to have a good education. They want them to have a good meal, a nice place to live, and a job they can be proud of. And frustration is now spilt out in the streets. And I look for it to continue until something politically happens. Someone needs to be removed from the situation. Stop yelling angry things at people who are already angry. That's what our government's doing. And no one's saying anything. You're angering people who are already angry. How dumb is that? little piece. Here, let me help you. What can we do? Let's work on it. We'll form a committee. We'll sit around and talk about the issues and see if we can't affect some legislation to make things better. What's happening now is decades of not listening. Nothing solved, and a spark set it off just like a fire. Put the fire out, you're going to have to do something. Not shoot people or beat them up. You're going to have some answers. And we have people for that. We have people who understand the landscape of the world and how to make things better. We're just not using them. Just like we're not using the people that would have seen this virus coming. Oh, we fired those guys. Oh, why? Because Obama appointed them. We can't have anything Obama did. Let's get rid of the insurance because that's Obama. You can't make rash, stupid moves like that and expect people to think you're bright. The thing that happened in the 60s was we pretty much decapitated our government. We were steerless there for a while. All the President's Men, that movie. You haven't seen it, watch it. They all went to jail. And Nixon, the head conspirator, they didn't prosecute him, but they could have until Ford pardoned him. We can't have that again because that created a lot of resentment. But as soon as the powers that be are gone and new people come in, I don't mean clones of what we've got now because that's not helping it. What we have are more of the same. The same people that created this problem in the beginning of the country are still in power. They're still doing the same things. They're not being inclusive. That's a neat word, isn't it, coming from the other side? Being inclusive. Come on in, open the door. How would you like to help us figure out how to fix this? How would you like to help us form committees and steering things and affect change? We're not doing that. Until we do that in a serious manner, we'll revisit this again. Well, every 10 years, there's a riot somewhere because we're not listening. We don't care. They're in the minority. We're propagating that which we say we don't want, but then we don't actually do anything. Here's an Oreo cookie. Here, take some of these Lorna Doones. That'll fix it. No. It's a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. We need to rip that Band-Aid off and actually fix that. Just like a surgeon. Figure out what's wrong, sew it back together, and let's go down the road together. This is not our country. It's everybody's country. Until we can see that, this is what we're going to have. Racial divide, divisiveness, anger. We're a country that's known for compromising and fixing things, and yet we can't do this. Why? Because our country started out that way. Everybody had a slave or 100 slaves. Everything was done. It was cotton. Everything was done that way. And North, don't think you get away from it. You had the same thing in the North. You took black people and paid them nothing, which created the same issue they had in the South. They were free, but there wasn't any place for them to go. Until we really strike at the root of it. It's not okay for a large majority to kick around a minority. When you kick a dog often enough, he bites you. That's what we have here. The dog's biting and barking. And giving them a cookie is not going to fix it. It needs to be deeper than that. We've got no end of smart people in this country. They're everywhere. Thousands of them. You'd think we could put them together and come up with some solutions, but we don't want that. People in power don't want to lose power. They want things to roll along as they are. Change is inevitable. Otherwise, we'd still be walking. We wouldn't even have horses. I don't think I've settled anything here. I'm just sort of telling you how I feel about it. And I don't feel adequate for that. I'm telling you what I'm feeling, and also what I'm hearing. But I don't feel adequate to the task of even describing what it is. I don't have the words for it. I don't have the vocabulary. Some of you out there do. Write some neat things, respond to this in a way that might help people. Have something to say that's bring us together, inclusive, not exclusive. Let's don't give them that. They don't deserve it. They're not inclusive. Come on in. Sit down at a table. Let's figure this out. What do you want to see happen? What do we want to see happen? Somewhere in the middle, there's a compromise that works. I guarantee you, it does every time, if we're listening. No fear, no regret, no anger. Thanks for watching.